Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be doing the 2020 electoral map based off Donald Trump's approval rating. So essentially, if his approval rating is above 45%, then I will give that state to him. And if it's under or on 45%, I give it to the Democrats. And I was originally going to do a 50% mark, but his approval rating is just so detrimental across the United States, I cannot choose the 50% mark. A lot of people would get extremely angry, although it's not my numbers. Someone's going to get angry about it, and I'm going to show you why. So if we went under a 50% mark, oops, 1 second. Sorry about that. If we went under a 50% mark on the electoral map, Donald Trump would lose the election in a landslide. First of all the safe states would be enough to put the Democrats over the top, and the Democrats would win 473 electoral votes, flipping states like Mississippi, Louisiana, Nebraska, Kansas, South Carolina, and a couple others, and it's just not realistic. Clearly, these states are all going to go to Donald Trump in 2020. So the approval rating probably won't correlate, but as of right now, these states are not necessarily the most approving of the president. So that's why I'm not going to choose it, and I just don't want him to seem like he's at a point where there's no return, because obviously that's not true, and he does have a real shot at winning the 2020 presidential election. So I'm going to fill these states in by leaning, likely, and toss-up. So first of all the safe states, sorry, not toss-up, leaning, likely, and safe states, all the safe states for the president, for the Democrats are states like on the West Coast, where his approval rating is literally below 30% or on 30%. Up in the Northeast, in his home state, pretty much all these Democratic states all have a negative favorability of the president, and pretty much every single state that was a toss-up state in 2016 negatively views the president more than they approve of him, which is not good news for him for obvious reasons. But then we're going to go to, actually I haven't filled in Illinois, and then we're going to go to some swing states and some safe states for the president. So let's start off with the safe states for the president. So Montana, that one's not safe, actually. I don't know why I did that. It's leaning in his column. 45% actually would be likely. Leaning is 1 to 5%. Likely is 5 to 10%. Sorry, 6 to 10%. And safe is 11 plus. So Montana has a 52% approval rating for President Trump. Goes into his leaning likely column. My bad. Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota. Actually, sorry, not South Dakota. South Dakota is a leaning state. I'm just going to go through this because it's based off the numbers. Wyoming and North Dakota are pretty much safe for the president. In Nebraska, that one's leaning in his column, 49% approval rating. Kansas, 48%. In Oklahoma, that one would be likely because it's a 53% approval rating. We go over to Arkansas, leaning in his column. That's still leaning. Louisiana, leaning. Mississippi, leaning. 48%, 49%, 50%. Missouri, even lower, 47%, still leaning in his column. Tennessee, 50% leaning in his column. Kentucky, leaning, again, because it's within that 5%. In West Virginia, I don't know why I got the two confused. It's considered a toss-up state. In Indiana, we're going to come back to that one because it doesn't really turn out how you might expect. In Utah, that one's leaning for the president. And Alaska is also leaning for the president. Now we're going over to Alabama. Which one is considered likely? South Carolina is leaning in his column, and so far, not good news for the president. So I filled in pretty much every single state that he's going to carry in this scenario. So first of all, he's not going to carry the states that Hillary Clinton won. All of those have a negative approval rating of around 10% or more, excluding states like Nevada and New Hampshire. Nevada, I see as right now it would be considered leaning in the Democratic column because it's a 42% approval rating. In New Hampshire, the same thing here, leaning for the Democrats. Same thing up in Maine, leaning for the Democratic Party. Across the Rust Belt, that one's leaning as well, just because I'm giving the president a 45% margin. Otherwise, it would be considered possibly even safe in some of these states. Pretty much leaning for the Democrats. In Minnesota, that one is just that's likely because it's around it's a 37% approval rating. Actually, that would make Colorado a likely state, but New Mexico would remain safe. In Arizona, that one approves of the president less than Nevada, leaning for the Democrats. In Iowa, 43% approval rating, leaning for the Democrats. Indiana, 44% leaning for the Democrats. Ohio, also leaning for the Democratic Party. So Ohio, the Democrats would win, 45% approval rating here. So we went over to Virginia, 37% approval rating for the president. Obviously, that one would be in the likely column for the Democrats. In North Carolina, the Democrats probably would carry this one, considering Trump's approval rating is 40% here. In Georgia, it's 41%, not that much higher. In Florida, 41% as well. And this is one of the few states that's actually going to be a little bit more surprising. Texas would be in the likely column because their approval rating here for the president is 39%. It's higher in Iowa, Ohio, all across the Rust Belt, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Arizona. It's higher in Nevada, New Hampshire, Maine, all states that Donald Trump either came close to carrying or narrowly carried, whereas he carried Texas by around 9%, and I'm not really counting Iowa and Ohio by narrowly carried, but the final electoral map comes out to be 423 electoral votes for the Democrats, 115 for Donald Trump. Not that different from the map we see here. Just a few southern states and Midwestern states have flipped. But Donald Trump obviously doing a bit better when I take a 45% mark and above for 46% mark and above for him compared to just a 50% mark. So thank you guys for watching this video. I apologize for cutting over into my grades. You guys were able to see them, but that was just first quarter, so it's not important now. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.